It is 2 in the morning. You are standing on West 57th Street in Manhattan, New York City, the street that the real estate industry calls Billionaires Row. Above you, 60, 70, 80 stories of glass. Some of the most expensive apartments on Earth. Look up. Count the lit windows. There are almost none. Not because it is 2 in the morning. Looks the same at 8 in the evening. The same at noon on a Tuesday in July. These towers are full of apartments worth 10, 20, 30, 40 million dollars. And almost no one is home. They are not empty because no one wanted them. They are empty because the people who bought them never intended to live there. They are investments, vaults, parking spaces for money, owned by people whose names you will never see on a lease, whose addresses are in places that do not have streets. Tonight, we find them. Welcome to Apex Abode. What you're about to see comes from property records, court filings, investigative reports from the New York Times, ProPublica, and the United States Senate. These are the facts. On West 57th Street in Manhattan, known as Billionaires Row, there are approximately 9,000 residential units across 12 luxury skyscrapers. According to a 2024 analysis by the New York City Department of Finance and reporting by ProPublica, approximately 78% of units in these towers were unoccupied for more than half the year. 78%. The average listing price per unit, $30 million. Central Park Tower, the tallest residential building in the Western Hemisphere, still had 87 unsold units as of early 2025. The developer refinanced 18 of those units with a loan of $270 million. 432 Park Avenue, the needle-thin tower you can see from 20 miles away. 45 floors of apartments, 45 floors that are mostly dark. At the base of that tower, 3 blocks away, the city of New York spends over $2.4 billion per year on homeless shelters. $2.4 billion. In a neighborhood where the most expensive square footage on Earth sits. Empty. This is the story of who owns that darkness and why no one is stopping them. Let us start with the most basic question. Who owns these apartments? The answer, in most cases, is technically unknowable. By design. At 432 Park Avenue, the largest share of identifiable buyers are foreign nationals. According to property records analyzed by The Real Deal and ProPublica, owners have been traced to Saudi Arabia, China, Russia, Kazakhstan, and the United Kingdom. Fawaz Al-Hokair, a Saudi real estate magnate, purchased the highest residence at 432 Park Avenue. The unit was bought through a Delaware LLC. His name does not appear on the deed. At Central Park Tower, the highest floor sold for approximately $66 million to a buyer operating through 4 corporate layers. After 3 years of reporting, investigative journalists at the New York Times could not identify the human being who owns that apartment. A unit worth $66 million. And no one, no reporter, no regulator, no tax authority can say with certainty who owns it. This is not an accident. This is what is called beneficial ownership opacity, the system by which the identity of the true owner of a property is legally hidden behind a chain of corporate structures. The United States, unlike most developed nations, does not require the disclosure of beneficial ownership for real estate purchases. You can buy a $100 million apartment in Manhattan, and your name never appears anywhere in the public record. The Financial Action Task Force, the international money laundering watchdog, has repeatedly cited the American real estate market as one of the most significant vulnerabilities in the global financial system. One of the most significant vulnerabilities in the global financial system, and still, no federal law requires disclosure. Let us be specific, because vague numbers are easy to ignore. 432 Park Avenue, 896 feet tall, 104 floors, 88 apartments. A 2022 study by the Urban Justice Center found that on any given night, fewer than 30% of units showed signs of occupancy. Fewer than 30%. In the tallest residential tower in the Western Hemisphere at the time of its completion. 111 West 57th Street, known as Steinway Tower. 84 floors, designed as the slenderest skyscraper in the world, 60 apartments. Starting price, $18 million. Current occupancy rate, estimated at approximately 40% by property analysts. 100 West 57th Street, the Nordstrom Tower, or Central Park Tower. 131 floors, 179 units. In 2023, the developer was sued by lenders after failing to sell enough units to service a construction loan of $900 million. $900 million. Still not enough people wanted to live there. 115 Central Park West. Sold to 19 different shell companies in the 5 years following completion. Each shell company registered in a different state. None of the 18 floors were continuously occupied. And then, 157 West 57th Street, known as 157, the building that started everything. The building where a penthouse sold for $101 million in 2015, setting a Manhattan record. That penthouse sat empty for 3 years, $101 million, empty for 3 years. The buyer, a shell company registered to a Qatari royal, who has never been publicly confirmed to have spent a single night there. Now, let us talk about money. Specifically, the money that is not being paid. New York City has a property tax system. Residential properties are taxed annually. The system is, in theory, designed so that every property in the city contributes to the services that city provides. But there is a problem. New York City calculates property taxes based on assessed value, not market value. And the gap between those two numbers for luxury condominiums on Billionaires Row is staggering. A condo at 432 Park Avenue with a market value of $30 million pays property taxes calculated on an assessed value of approximately $2 million. That is a 67% discount from market value, built into the law. The effective annual property tax on a $30 million apartment, approximately $22,000. A schoolteacher in Queens with a home worth $400,000 pays a higher percentage of their home's value in property tax than a Qatari royal owning a $30 million dark apartment 2 miles away. In 2022 and 2023, the city of New York proposed the Pied-a-Terre tax, a levy specifically on non-primary residences over $5 million. It would have raised an estimated $900 million annually. That money was earmarked for affordable housing. The bill was defeated. In 2026, it is being debated again, and the same lobbying groups that defeated it 3 years ago are spending again. The number the industry spent to defeat that tax in 2022: $11 million in lobbying. $11 million. To protect the right of people who do not live in New York to own dark apartments in New York without paying a meaningful tax, while the city spends $2.4 billion on homelessness. Here is what it looks like inside. The typical unit on Billionaires Row, the kind sold to an anonymous shell company for $30 million, has approximately 4,000 square feet of living space. The views span from the Atlantic Ocean to the Catskill Mountains. The kitchen countertops are quartzite. The floors are white oak. The ceiling height is 11 feet throughout. A private elevator opens directly into the unit's foyer. There's a staff call button in every room. And the closets were designed by a specialist who charges more per square foot of closet space than most Americans pay for an apartment. At this particular unit, on the 48th floor of a tower we are not naming for legal reasons, a building superintendent told a local journalist in 2023 that he had been maintaining this apartment for 4 years. He had never once, in 4 years, seen the owner. He cleaned it each month. He checked the systems. He replaced the air filters. The building management paid him from a trust account managed by a law firm in the British Virgin Islands. He said, and I want to read this exactly, "The apartment smells like nothing. A new apartment smells like paint and fresh carpet. An old apartment smells like people. This one just smells like nothing. After 4 years, like no one ever came." Smells like nothing? After 4 years, $30 million, and it smells like no one ever came. So where does this money come from? And why does it park itself in dark apartments in New York? The answer involves a concept that financial analysts call the global safe haven asset. In periods of political or economic instability, wealthy individuals, particularly those in countries with unstable governments or legal systems, seek to move their money into assets that are difficult to seize, easy to liquidate, and protected by stable legal systems. American real estate checks every box. A 2022 report by Global Financial Integrity, a Washington-based watchdog, estimated that between $1 and $4 trillion of suspicious funds flow through American real estate annually. 1 to 4 trillion. The range is wide because the structures designed to hide this money are specifically designed to prevent measurement. But here is what we know concretely. In 2016, the Treasury Department launched something called Geographic Targeting Orders, a program requiring greater disclosure for all cash luxury real estate purchases in certain cities. In Manhattan, the disclosure zone covered all purchases above $3 million. In the first year of the program, before the requirement was broadly publicized, suspicious activity reports related to luxury real estate in Manhattan increased by 70%. 70%. In 1 year, meaning the suspicious activity was already there. The reporting requirement just made it visible. The program was later expanded, then partially rolled back, then expanded again. The dark money flows in waves, depending on how carefully anyone is looking. This is not history. This is happening right now. In 2026, New York City is once again debating the Pied-a-Terre tax, a levy specifically on apartments over $5 million that are not used as primary residences. Mayor Zohran Mamdani, a Democratic socialist elected in 2025, has made this tax a centerpiece of his administration's housing agenda. The opposition? Ken Griffin, the hedge fund billionaire who relocated Citadel to Miami specifically to avoid state income taxes, who is now, from Florida, spending significant money to defeat a New York City tax on apartments that people do not live in. The debate has produced one of the most revealing confrontations in American political life in recent memory. On one side, a mayor arguing that homes should be lived in. On the other, billionaires arguing that their right to own dark apartments, untaxed, is sacred. The vote has not yet happened. Whichever way it goes, it will tell you something important about who New York City is for. Here's what you can do with this information. First, you can look up who owns property in your city. In New York, ACRIS, the Automated City Register Information System, is a free public database. Search any address, see who owns it, see how much they paid, see if the owner is a real person or an LLC. Second, the Pied-a-Terre tax debate is not only in New York. Vancouver, London, Singapore, and Hong Kong have all implemented versions of empty home taxes in recent years. 12 American cities are currently considering similar legislation. Your local council member's email address is public. Third, share this video, because the only thing that makes this system uncomfortable is light. And right now, almost no one is turning the lights on. It is 2 in the morning again. You are on West 57th Street. The towers are still dark. The Qatari royal's penthouse is dark. The Saudi magnate's unit is dark. The $66 million apartment that no journalist can trace to a human being is dark. 3 blocks away, the city shelter is full. In our next investigation, we obtained the internal documents from one of these towers' management companies, including the actual guest log, which shows that one specific unit, worth $42 million, has been occupied for a total of 11 nights in 5 years. 11 nights in 5 years. $42 million. We're going to show you who those 11 nights belong to. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. This is Apex Abode. We turn the lights on